After what feels like years of making do with technical scraps and rumors, we finally have some concrete PlayStation 5 news. The new controller for the system is called the DualSense. It incorporates a host of new features and is mostly white for some reason. It's safe to say no one was expecting that. Outside of this oddity, there are plenty of reasons to be excited for the PlayStation 5 controller. In this video, we're going to break down all the new info surrounding the DualSense and infer some of our own findings. Trust us, now that you know what you'll be holding on to, you're definitely going to want to get your hands on a PS5. First off, we need to talk about all the new tech packed into this controller. The PS5 DualSense has a built-in microphone, so you won't have to use a headset to chat with people in online games. You can still use a headset, but it doesn't look like the DualSense has a traditional audio jack, so you'll probably need a Bluetooth headset if you haven't upgraded already. Next up is the use of what Sony calls haptic feedback. Basically, this is tech that makes it harder to push a button, squeeze a trigger, or move an analog stick depending on what's going on in a game. The idea here is that games will feel more immersive if you can get a physical sensation from your character drawing a bow or wading through some thick mud. Whether or not this pans out is yet to be seen, but it's kind of fun that Sony basically leaned into the theme park 4D theater experience. Then there's the charging port. While Sony didn't outright say so, it's pretty likely that the DualSense will use a USB-C cable to charge. This port is quickly becoming the standard for most devices and means you won't have to keep flipping the cable to get it to fit. This was easily one of the most frustrating elements of the PS4 DualShock controller. Also, the Nintendo Switch uses a USB-C to charge, so now we can finally say that the PS5 will at the very least match the Switch's hardware performance. Alright, kidding aside, it looks like the PS5 controller ditched the dedicated share button that helped define the PS4 controller. Sony promises that the share feature still exists, but the button is replaced with a more general create button. Sony will detail the features tied to this button at a later date, but the name suggests that it will be tied to multiple functions. It could allow a player to create a screenshot, a short video, etc. Even if streaming has basically replaced sharing gameplay on social media platforms, Sony will definitely keep those features around for a while. The DualSense still retains the PS4 DualShock's touchpad, but now it's white. In fact, the majority of the controller is white, leading many to believe that will be the primary color of the PlayStation 5 system. The light bar that first appeared on the PS4 controller also wraps around the touchpad instead of just appearing on the underside of the device. This new look breaks the all-black color scheme that's defined Sony controllers since the PlayStation 2. It makes sense, then, that some fans are pushing back against it. There are already photoshops of an all-black PS5 controller floating around. Without the splash of white, it's pretty striking how much the PS5 controller looks like the previous model. Although it's been reported that the PS5 controller is a bit bigger than the PS4 controller, considering this and its sleeker design, it feels like an even more grown-up controller that is set to match the high-performing system. All in all, it's clear that the DualSense isn't exactly reinventing the wheel when it comes to video game controllers. While fans will argue about which system has the best controller for as long as video games exist, Sony has been nailing their controllers for a while now. The DualSense seems like it'll be a sleeker version of past Sony controllers to fit the sleeker system. Can we infer much about the PlayStation 5 system from its controller though? Not really. While it will likely have a USB port or two to charge the controller and offer a wired connection, that's all we can say with any kind of certainty. It is odd though that Sony would dump some major information about their upcoming console without much warning or fanfare. Sony's marketing efforts for the PlayStation 5 have been pretty perplexing so far, and it looks like this trend will continue. Regardless, there's definitely more hype surrounding the PS5 now than there was a few days ago, and gamers are hungry for more. We can only hope that Sony finally kicks their marketing campaign for the console into high gear, and we can finally learn what this part of the next generation of gaming has in store for all of us. Well then, what do you think of the PlayStation 5 DualSense controller? Do you like the color scheme, or will you pick up a custom all-black version? Please let us know in the comments down below and like this video while you're there. Subscribing to The Gamer will also help us bring you more videos just like this one, and we'd really appreciate your support.